Welcome back. For millions around the country, food insecurity remains a daily challenge. Here in the Bronx, families and individuals face the highest rate of food insecurity in America. Joining me for discussion on this is John Weed, Assistant Executive Director of BronxWorks. John, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. A pleasure.
So, according to a report from Hunger Free America, the Bronx remained New York City's hungriest borough with more than 1 in 5 Bronx residents experiencing food insecurity. What factors contribute to the numbers of food insecurity that we're seeing in New York City and even in the Bronx?
Well, that's an interesting question. There are many factors really that relate to food insecurity. I mean, you mentioned, the Bronx being 1 in 5 people being food insecure. That's probably going to go up in time, and it certainly went up during the pandemic. But certainly, income, low income, unemployment, and living in an area where there's less access to food, and that's certainly the Bronx, all three of those things. The pandemic only heightened things, but there's a lot of work to do in order to help out here.
Now, I'm really curious to know, do people with either disabilities or veterans or like just communities of people, do you know which ones or which communities face food insecurity at a high rate?
I don't have all the statistics in front of me, but I mean, all of those communities have difficulty. Certainly, there's a lot of undocumented here in the Bronx, and they wouldn't have access to certain benefits that help out with food insecurity. Certainly, disabilities, people not having an ability to move around freely, and as I said before, the access to food is a real important issue here in the Bronx with really, you've heard the term food desert, and that's squarely the Bronx.
Now, last year, the Bronx saw dozens of food distributions and pantries. In what ways did the pandemic exacerbate the problem Bronxites were seeing with food insecurity?
Clearly, you saw an uptick in food related issues. So you saw more food pantries, you saw longer lines, and a lot of that had to do with unemployment. So the Bronx had an unemployment rate that went up to 25% during the pandemic. I mean, you cite 1 in 5 persons being food insecure, but 1 in 4 were unemployed. So all of those are contributing factors. Here at BronxWorks, we opened 9 food pantries. We already knew about this problem because we had food pantries operating, but we saw an uptick in hungry citizens here, and we stepped up and opened more pantries to combat that.
Now, as people, we often have ideas of what someone who is struggling looks like, but that can honestly just be anyone. What are different forms of food insecurity, and what may that look like to an individual or a family?
Well, certainly people who have reduced food intake, they skip meals, they ration more. You see more people on pantry lines. All of those are indications that food insecurity is at a high level. Um, People spending too much on rent, people who have lost jobs, all of these contribute to the fact that they can't spend money on food. Um, I go back to this food desert issue. People are paying high prices. They go to corner stores and they buy unhealthy food, or they go to a fast food restaurant because supermarkets are not readily available. So, affordable food is a very big factor as well. And we don't see enough of that here in the Bronx.
I'm really glad that you brought up food deserts because that was actually going to be one of my questions, whether or not you believe food deserts contribute to the issue of food insecurity. Because I think people often think that food insecurity means that there's no food, but sometimes there's food that's there. It's just not the healthiest. Can you just elaborate that on that a little bit more?
Absolutely. Here at BronxWorks, we've known this issue for a long time. So some of the things that we've done is operate farm stands to bring fresh food to the local people here. And you're showing a picture of one of our farm stands. We operate too. But food deserts, meaning that there isn't a high quality food available, right? So I mentioned corner stores what they call bodegas, fast food. Those are readily available, but they don't really sell foods that are beneficial, right? So, or healthy. So you can get canned stuff, you can get a lot of sodas, you can get things that aren't necessarily healthy, and you spend a lot more money buying, shopping that way. If we had very high quality supermarkets here, it would be, alleviate that problem quite a bit.
Now, you did mention some of the efforts that BronxWorks has, put into kind of alleviate this problem, and you talked a little bit about your farm stand. I want to go back to that because I actually did cover it before it. I saw the most beautiful vegetables, like they were just
Yeah.
so fresh and clean, and just like they look so good. So, can you tell us more about the farm stands and just like the time that they operate, and how that actually came to be?
Sure. So we operate two farm stands currently. They both operate from July to November. One is outside our facility on the Grand Concourse, 1130 Grand Concourse. The other is in Mott Haven, and they operate one day a week. We bring in fresh produce and fruits, and we bring in whatever is in season at the particular time. So you'll see different offerings throughout the season, but they're very well priced for people. And not only do we sell produce and fruits, but we also do cooking demos. So we teach people how to cook healthy with the particular produce that we're selling that day. We also have health bucks available. Those are additional benefits for people who have SNAP. And so we give those out. This year it was actually $2 for $2. So you'd spend $2 and get $2 in health bucks, which would increase your purchasing power at one of our food farm stands. All the produce comes from upstate, comes from farmers that are close by. So it's very, very nice to have these farm stands. And we've done these farm stands for well over, I'd say, 5 or 6 years. We started this initiative because we recognized that there were food insecurity issues here in the Bronx, and certainly food desert.
And I also love that because sometimes going to a supermarket in the Bronx, sometimes the vegetables aren't as fresh, or they're like maybe they're affordable, but that's because they're about to expire. So I really love seeing that. And I really appreciate that you guys brought that to the Bronx. I also want to talk about the Carolyn McLaughlin Community Center kitchen. I understand the kitchen produces more than 600 meals every day. Can you tell us more about that effort?
Yes, so that's been an effort that's been around for about 20 years now. A kitchen that cooks mainly for our programs that we have on site and off site, but we have a head cook, we have two assistant cooks, we have a kitchen manager. So it's an effort that's done by only a few staff, and they cook from scratch. They have very healthy menu. A lot of it is ethnically diverse, so they'll pick something from an African community, and they'll pick something from, say, the Dominican or Hispanic community, and then we always keep our clientele in the process, right? So we do surveys, we do check-ins about how the meals are going, but we feed children in all of our children programs, our early childhood centers. We also send food off-site to homeless individuals, and so it's an effort that really reaches a wide range of people, and people who urgently need the nutrition from the kitchens.
Yeah,
So actually that 600 number goes up quite a bit in the summer because we convert some of our programs into full day summer day camps. So we're talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And now we actually are going to start operating two brand new senior centers, one here at the Carolyn McLaughlin Community Center and another offsite that we'll be delivering meals to. So those will be a daily increase of about 100 to 150 meals per day. So that 600 will go up to 750 or so, and that'll happen very soon.
that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, fighting against the issue of food insecurity, many locals around New York City and the Bronx began creating community fridges. What are some other ways people can help someone struggling with food insecurity?
Certainly those fridges have been vital in the effort, and people can donate to those fridges. There are a few in Mott Haven. I think there's a few in this area as well. There's a list of them somewhere on a website, but those have been very helpful and unique in terms of this growing problem of food insecurity. But people can also donate their time. They can donate resources. All of our food pantries take items or help. So running a food pantry is very time intensive and logistically difficult. So we always need a lot of people to operate a food pantry. We have 9 of them. One of our food pantries at the Carolyn McLaughlin Community Center is a client choice. So that's very time intensive. That means that people come and they get a shopping list, and then they check off things that they want, and then we shop for them. We've had to rearrange things a little bit since the pandemic so that we're not too close in contact. But people come in, they see a reviewer, they check off what they want, and they go shopping. So it's a very nice way for people to be involved in picking their items of their choice. So that's what we've been doing for at least 2 years now at the 1130 Grand Concourse building.
John, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell people where they can keep up with you?
Certainly. BronxWorks.org, that's our general website. You can find out all information about our agency at that particular website. Or you can go to, look for our farm stands or food pantries on the website, and then you can contact those individual sites. But certainly, we're always welcome to take in new volunteers and resources to help our pantries out. Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Open BXRX Tuesday.